At the beginning of the 2015-2016 NHL season, the San Jose Sharks had one goal in mind: to reach the Stanley Cup playoffs once again. The 2014-2015 season was a sad one for the Sharks. They finished 22nd in the league and ended a 10-year playoff appearance streak. But the 2015-2016 season was destined to be different. In the offseason prior to the 2015-2016 season, they made a trade with the Bruins, acquiring what would become their star goaltender Martin Jones, a young goalie with loads of potential who had had amazing appearances with their rival, the LA Kings, just the season prior. And they had a lot of hope that he could take them very far, take them back to the playoffs, and help them reach the Stanley Cup Finals and possibly even the Stanley Cup itself. And Jones didn't disappoint, playing 65 games, winning 37 of them with a .918 save percentage, a .227 goals against average, and 6 shutouts. Some of their veterans absolutely contributed as well, such as Joe Thornton with 82 points in 82 games, Joe Pavelski with 38 goals and 78 points in 82 games, Brent Burns with a whopping 75 points in 82 games, and sure enough, with a record of 46, 30, and 6, the San Jose Sharks regained a playoff spot. In the first round, they faced off against the LA Kings, a team just 2 years removed from a Stanley Cup victory themselves, and they knocked them out in 5 games. The second round, the Sharks were up against the Nashville Predators, a team that is consistently good or had been, and they knocked them out in a tight series, finishing it in 7 games, to go on to the conference finals where they would face off against the St. Louis Blues and send them home as well in 6 games, bringing them to the Stanley Cup Finals against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, this very well could have been the last opportunity for a lot of the aging veterans and the aging stars on the San Jose Sharks to get a chance at Lord Stanley's Cup. And they fought for it hard, but sadly, they fell in 6 games to the Penguins, who would go on to not only win that Stanley Cup that year, but knock out the Nashville Predators the next year in the Stanley Cup Finals and win back-to-back cups. So what happened to the Sharks after that? Well, they actually continued to progress season after season. In the 2016-2017 season, they improved their game, finishing with 1 extra point, a record of 46, 29, and 7 with 99 points total, but lost in the first round. In the 2017-18 season, they finished again with another extra point, notching a 45, 27, and 10 record for 100 total points on the season, but found themselves out in the second round this time. In the 2018-2019 season, they pushed even harder than they thought they could, finishing with a 46, 27, and 9 record, staying consistent over the last 4 years, increasing by a point each year with 101 points total on this season, finishing second in the West, and they went far this year in the playoffs. They went almost all the way back to the Stanley Cup, but lost in the Western Conference Finals. And unfortunately, that would be the last time the Sharks ever played playoff hockey since then. In the 2019-20 lockout shortened season, they fell apart, a 29, 36, and 5 record, finishing 29th in the NHL. In the 2020-2021 second lockout shortened season, they finished with a 21, 28, and 7 record through 56 games, finishing 26th in the NHL. In the 21-22 season, they finished a little better, 32, 37, and 13, 22nd in the NHL. It was looking a little hopeful for them, but then last year in the 22-23 season, they finished with a 22, 44, and 16 record, ranking them 29th in the NHL. And unfortunately, they got even worse after that. We're currently 8 games away from the end of the 23-24 season as of the time of recording this video, and the Sharks have the potential to possibly not even win 20 games this season. They currently sit 17, 49, and 8, ranking right now as the worst placed team in the NHL. Almost 8 years removed from their last Stanley Cup Finals appearance, and they have not been the team that they once were. A lot of their stars are now gone. Joe Thornton has retired. Joe Pavelski is with the Dallas Stars. Brent Burns is with the Carolina Hurricanes. Patrick Marleau has retired. Even their younger stars like Timo Meier and Thomas Hertl are with different teams, as Hertl has gone to the Vegas Golden Knights at this most recent NHL trade deadline, and Timo Meier went to the New Jersey Devils at last year's NHL trade deadline. The only 2 players that remain on the San Jose Sharks are Marc-Edouard Vlasic and Logan Couture. from that 2015-2016 Stanley Cup Finals appearance. Even Martin Jones is now with the Toronto Maple Leafs organization after bouncing around from different clubs over the last few years. And now, there is nothing left, aside from Couture and Marc-Edouard Vlasic, of that Stanley Cup final team. Hey there everybody, my name is Keno and welcome to our new franchise mode series here on NHL 24 with the San Jose Sharks. Now, as I said, they're currently slated to be the worst ranked team in the NHL this season, and I don't see that changing in the next 8 games. I don't think the Blackhawks are gonna plummet. I don't think the Sharks are gonna do any better. I think it's gonna finish the way it is right now. So this is our team for the next 10 years to the 2033 season. We are going to try and rebuild the San Jose Sharks. If we can get further than that, we'll get further than that. I plan to do a lot of uploads with this series and try to take a different approach with it. I plan to have some rules in place. If you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments down below. But here we are. This is going to serve as a setup type of episode. We're going to look at what our roster currently looks like, and I'll give you a little sneak peek. It's not looking great. And then I'll go over what I plan to do with this franchise mode series. But let's waste no more time. I've already done my little spiel. Let's get into what we have. Now, I haven't set any lines or anything like that. I'm just showing you what the lineups currently look like. And you can see they're not looking good, as our top ranked forward is currently Mikael Granlund at 84 overall. You may notice that I don't have Logan Couture in the lineup. He is currently a healthy scratch. He is an 83 overall, so he'd be our second rated forward. But I currently have him out because he did miss most of the season, only playing 6 games so far with an injury. So I'm contemplating doing that type of thing, keeping him in the AHL for most of the season. I'm calling him up later, but you guys let me know in the comments what you think about that. Aside from that, it's not very much on the forward core. We have William Eklund, who is going to be a good prospect for us. Medium elite, 80 overall, third line scoring forward. He's definitely going to have an impact on this series and be a long-time player, hopefully. Past that, in the current roster, there's not much. Maybe Fabian Zetterlund. He's going to be here for a while if I have anything to say about it. But a lot of these pieces on this team currently are just kind of placeholders. Defensively, it's kind of similar, but there's a little more youth on the back end with Mario Ferraro, Kalen Addison, and Shakir Mukhamadullin as good pieces there. But we do have 36-year-old Marc-Edouard Vlasic and some other veterans like Matt Benning and Jan Rutta as well. And as you can see, it's pretty weak back here as well, with Mario Ferraro being a top-rated defenseman. And he looks pretty decent, listed as a top 4 defender, high top 4 potential, and his individual attributes. He's not definitely going to be a puck mover, but he's going to be a decent defender for us, no doubt. And I don't plan to move him. I know the Sharks were looking at it, but I don't have any inclination to do it right now. And in net, it's Mackenzie Blackwood and Vitek Vanacek, both 81 overall, both former New Jersey Devils as well. Now, looking at our prospects and our trade values for our forwards currently, it's looking a little better. It's looking a little more hopeful in our favor. We have Will Smith, who's an 18-year-old, 72 overall, medium elite potential. His individual attributes are low right now, but again, they'll grow over the season and as we develop him. There's also Quentin Musty, who looks great, high top 6 potential, 75 overall. He's looking good. If you guys think that Musty is a little too high or Will Smith's a little too low, let me know in the comments down below. Again, this is just a setup episode where I use your guys' feedback to judge how this series is going to start off. We also have players like Thomas Bordeleau, 78 overall, medium top 6 potential at 21. Daniil Gushchin, who's going to be a big factor for us, 78 overall, low elite potential depth forward, and he looks great. Those individual attributes are looking beautiful to me. Past that, we have David Edstrom, who they just acquired in the Thomas Hertl trade, Philip Bistet, Kasper Halttunen, who looks decent, as well as Igor Remashevsky, who was a 7th round pick in this most recent NHL draft, and he's doing really good over in Russia, so I thought I would give him a little bit of a boost. Low elite potential, 66 overall. If he develops, that'll be great. It'll be one of those fun players. If you don't know, I have a thing where I like to have fun players in my franchise mode series, just to have some sparks, have some things to talk about, and have some interest for myself. We also have Cam Lund, Ethan Cardwell, Tristan Robbins, Ozzy Weisblatt, Brandon Coe. There's a lot of prospects for this team, and it's looking decent. It's looking a little more promising when you look at it this way. Defensively is also kind of the same. Shakir Mukhamadullin is looking great. We also have Luca Cagnoni, I don't know how to say it. You guys let me know. He's a low elite 73 overall. He currently has 90 points with the Portland Winterhawks in the WHL. So I thought I'd give him a bit of a boost. He's looking fairly well-rounded, can play both left and right side, and he has some decent zone abilities too. And yes, before you say anything, I did add zone abilities to quite a few players just for line chemistry and for fun of it, okay? I felt in my last two series, whether it be the Toronto Maple Leaf series, the Montreal Canadiens series, or even before that with the Butte Bandit series, that there wasn't a lot of zone abilities for players, and I want to go through and change that for this series. But past Mokamedulin and Cagnoni, we still have Kalen Addison. As you saw, we have Nikolai Nizov, Artem Guriev, Jack Thompson, who they also just recently acquired, Matthias Havlid, Henry Thrun, and Thompson looks decent. He's a low elite 78 overall. Maybe I gave him too much of a boost. Maybe he should be about a 75, 76. You guys let me know. But this team is looking good. We still even have Valtteri Puli and Axel Landon. So there's some depth here too. Some promising players here on the back end. We just have to develop them properly. And then draft pick wise, it's also looking pretty good. We have our first round pick plus the Pittsburgh Penguins first round pick, and they're not doing too good. I don't think they'll sim well as well, so we could have two really high first round picks. We also have the New Jersey Devils second round pick. Past that, not too much, just a fourth from the Vegas Golden Knights, a fifth from the Penguins, a seventh from the Devils. We don't even have our own third or any other third, our own fourth or our own fifth, or our own sixth for that matter. Now, we've seen the roster, we've seen what it looks like. For goaltending, I forgot to change the roster up a bit, okay? There was somebody that I added for a little challenge series, and honestly, if you guys want me to keep him in, I will, but I do plan on removing him because it's just a bit of a cheat code. I'll show you guys him in a second. But for this series, I kind of want to do a little more challenge heavy, a little more rule heavy, okay? I want to try and build this team without just making a whole bunch of trades and grabbing a whole bunch of teams' best players and signing a whole bunch of the best free agents as we did in the Montreal Canadiens series and the Toronto Maple Leafs series. We kind of built super teams, especially with that Montreal Canadiens roster. That was the scariest team that I'd seen in a long time, and it was a little shocking how little success they had in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But that being said, I want to try and restrict myself a bit. Maybe I limit myself to 1 or 2 trades an entire year. Maybe 1 during the regular season or at the trade deadline, and 1 in the postseason, like at the draft or at free agency. You guys let me know what you think about that. And also, I want you guys to give me different challenges, okay? Maybe 1 or 2 different challenges per season that we have to hit. If we don't hit them, then you guys also have to come up with punishments, or I can come up with a punishment for the team myself, kind of like an ownership thing. You know, we don't have owner mode on. I don't like to run with that just because it adds a whole bunch of different stops and points like that I just don't care for. I think it's not a very fleshed out mode, aside from the expiring of the contracts and the ability to get fired. That's a little fun. I'll be doing a franchise mode with something similar or around that basis in the future. But for now, this is what we're going to be starting with, and I do want some rules and I do want challenges so that we can have some fun here. I want your guys' feedback. You guys are all my AGMs. You're my assistant general managers through and through. If you've subscribed to this channel, then you are officially a San Jose Sharks assistant general manager, and you, if you enjoy this series, will hopefully help me to achieve greatness with this San Jose Sharks team. Now, one thing that I do pride myself on is developing prospects properly. If you hadn't watched the Montreal Canadiens series, and I've said that a lot already, but in that one we did have Lane Hudson as about a high top 4 defender, and I had received a comment early in the series that maybe he might not get to that status of medium elite when he's supposed to be like a Cale Makar type player. He's looking great as a prospect for the Canadiens, and I said that I agreed, but there was nothing I could do because the series had already gone a few episodes in. So I said that I would develop him. And sure enough, we had a Norris contending defender for the entirety of his NHL career in that franchise mode series. He was a dominant defender for us, a dominant point producer for us, and we got him up to medium elite potential, spoiler alert, and we got him to a 91 overall. He was stellar. And I think we can do that with some of the prospects that we have here and with prospects that we will acquire via possible trades, but mostly through the drafts and possibly free agency. I'm not going to hold you guys up anymore. I want to show you, finally, the one little surprise that I have that I don't think I'm keeping in this, okay? If you guys want to see it, you let me know. I'll keep him in there. But we have a special player on this team. Now, I've been planning this one little challenge episode. I've been planning to do a couple little different one-off challenge episodes that won't result in series, more just how the team will do in a certain specific scenario. One of them was with the San Jose Sharks, and the question was how they would do with the best goaltender on the face of the earth in an NHL history. And no, I don't mean an actual goaltender from history. I don't mean like Hasek or Carey Price or Patrick Waugh or Martin Brodeur or Johnny Bower. I just meant a 99 overall goaltender. So may I introduce you to Cooper Kodiak, the elite goaltender, high franchise potential at 21 years old, 99 overall, 6'9", 200 pounds with all zone abilities. He is a stellar option. I mean, 99s across the board. Obviously, I'm going to say his individual attributes look bueno, perfect. I had thought about doing a quick little run to see if the San Jose Sharks, being the worst team in the NHL, would do good with Cooper Kodiak as their starting goaltender. And that's why I didn't show goaltending earlier when I was going through the roster, and you can see it now. It's Blackwood, Vanacek, Krona, Romanov, and Makiniemi. And Makiniemi is pretty much like the only kind of prospect that we have. I mean, he's 24, 77 overall, medium fringe starter potential. The other two have high fringe starter. They're probably going to get to where Makiniemi is. But you can see that our goaltending is very weak unless we keep Cooper Kodiak in. And I will say right off the bat that for the franchise mode series, I'm not too sure that I want to keep him in it because it just seems like a little bit of a cheaty type thing. It's very hard in the last few years to find a goaltender that can be absolutely game-breaking and stellar for you. I mean, it's usually just about how they work with your team. I mean, if I look back at former franchise modes that I've done in the last year or two, I've had an 81 overall goaltender almost win the Vezina trophy. I've had an 88 overall goaltender be the worst goaltender in the NHL. Thinking back even further, if I go back to the good old days of like NHL 16, NHL 17, where I had my fun, where I was playing constantly, logging massive hours in those games, I had goalies that were like 92 overall and constantly being nominated for the Hart or the Ted Lindsay and winning the Vezina and being crazy good with like a full season of a 945 save percentage and like 50 wins in 60 games. You could get really good goalies back then, really stellar goalies. But now it kind of seems like they're mostly hit or miss. I don't even know if Cooper Kodiak, being a 99 overall high franchise goalie, will be a Vezina winner in his NHL career. That is something for a different story, something for a different series, unless you guys want to see it here. But that is going to wrap up this setup episode. You guys let me know in the comments what you want to see. Do you want Cooper Kodiak to stay? Then we'll do it. If I see even one comment saying Cooper Kodiak stays, I'll probably do it. Do you think that there's any rating changes that need to be done? Is Will Smith a little too low? Is Quentin Musty a little too high? Is Jack Thompson a little too high? Again, I'll make the changes if you guys let me know what you think honestly about this team, but I'm ready to get going. I'm excited. In the next episode, we will be simming through a large part of the season, if not the entirety of the season. I don't think I'm going to sell the trade deadline. I think I'm going to kind of just stay status quo and just go through the first year, get to the draft, and turn off player trades or user trades so that no other team really makes moves. So we kind of have a very similar roster because this roster is updated as of post-trade deadline. I still am going through and making tweaks to certain players because I'll notice like, hey, this prospect isn't as good as they should be, or this player doesn't have the attributes that they should, so on and so forth. For now, let me know what you guys think. I think we're ready to go. I think we're ready to jump through the first season, but I'm waiting on your guys' feedback. But thank you guys so much for joining me. If you like this video, please leave a like down below. If you really like it, then why not consider subscribing? You can do it on a 30-day free trial basis. And if you don't like it after 30 days, unsubscribe. They won't charge your card. I mean, it's free either way. There's no card to even enter. You just click that little subscribe button down below and you'll make my day and you'll become an official assistant general manager of the San Jose Sharks and of any team we continue to do in the future. On MLB The Show, we have a Toronto Blue Jays mode going. We still have our Toronto Maple Leafs mode going for a little bit longer on NHL 24, and we are just starting, or have just started, a Seattle Mariners franchise mode with MLB The Show 24, and I'm planning to go into other ones. I do actually have interest in doing Franchise Hockey Manager and Madden, so you guys let me know what you guys want to see, but subscribe because then you'll be an assistant general manager for all of those things. And in the future, when I start streaming, which is going to be happening very shortly because I've finally gotten a work schedule that works beautifully for content creation, spending time with my family, and streaming, then you guys will be the top tier people in that chat. And we'll be doing franchise modes on our streams where we'll rebuild teams or we'll take super teams and we'll have fun challenges with them. And you guys will be given input as to what players we trade, what players we sign, what players we draft. It'll all be user-controlled ones. But thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been a blast, and I'll see you guys as we take the Sharks through their first season.